All right, so my name is Mrs. McNew. I am one of the fourth grade reading teachers, and we are going to be talking about context clues today. So the first thing that I want to ask is, does anyone have any background knowledge about context clues? Something that you already know, maybe from third grade or anything like that? What do you think?
I think context clues are when you read a story and you don't know a word, so you have to use the other words to help you know what it means.
All right, fantastic response. Yes, so with context clues, you are going to use clues in the text and visuals. What's a visual? Do you know? Anyone?
Visuals are the pictures in the story.
Fantastic. Yeah, so it's going to be our pictures in our story. So we're going to use the text, so the words that come around that word, and then the pictures to help us better understand the meaning of unfamiliar words, so words that we don't know. So we're just going to add this to our anchor chart. All right, guys, so let's read this together so that we really understand the definition about context clues. So if you'll just follow along and read with me.
Good readers use clues in the text and visuals to find the meaning of unknown words.
Awesome. Does anyone have a question about that definition right now? We're doing good? Thumbs up, thumbs down? How are we doing? Perfect. So with this, guys, there's going to be a lot of different things that you're going to look for to help you understand the meaning of those unknown words. So some different things that you can look for. So you're going to be like a detective. You're going to have a magnifying glass. You're going to be looking for different things. And the first thing that we're going to look for, we kind of already talked about, was those visuals. What is a visual again?
The pictures!
The pictures, thank you. So yes, we're going to look at our pictures. And how do we know that pictures are going to help us understand the meaning of unknown words? How would we know that? All right.
So the pictures help me put a picture in my head of what the story is saying.
All right. So the next thing that we're going to take a look at, that we're going to look for to understand those unknown words, are helping words. So when I have helping words, what I think about is, say that we have a word, lumen, and we have no idea what the word lumen means. But right after it, we have a comment that says like or such as light. So what do we think the word lumen means?
Light.
Light, very good. So those words, those helping words, sometimes give you the answer. So that's really awesome. The next thing that you're going to take a look at, so being your detective, you're going to look for are words that you already know. So I know, and you know, that you have this bank in your brain of all these words that you already know that's going to help you to understand those unknown words, which is really useful because it's going to help you to determine those definitions. And sometimes when you're looking at answer choices, you already know those words. Okay, so that's going to help you determine what that unknown word is. The next part that you're going to take a look at is examples and definitions. So examples and definitions. So sometimes, kind of like we were talking about with those helping words, it might give you an example of what a lumen is, or maybe something that means the same thing, also known as does anyone know? A word that means the same as something else.
A synonym.
A synonym. How fantastic. Yeah, so a synonym is something that means the exact same thing. So when we were talking about our example lumen, the light is the same thing as lumen. So that's going to help you to determine that word. Now something even trickier that it might give to you is something that means the opposite. Something that means the opposite. So we know a synonym is something that means the same thing, what about an opposite?
An antonym.
An antonym. Y'all have so much background knowledge. Fantastic. So a synonym means the same thing. Antonym means the opposite. So sometimes it might say lumen means light. We know that. What would be the opposite of light?
Dark.
Dark. So awesome. And I wonder why they would give us an antonym, so something that means the opposite. How would that help you know what lumen means? So I see that this is a really hard question to understand. So what we're going to do is a turn and talk with our neighbor. And with your neighbor, what I want you to discuss is how can an antonym help us to better understand those unfamiliar words?
So I know antonym means the opposite. So dark is in a sentence. How do we figure out what lumen means?
Well, I don't know what lumen means, but if I know the opposite of lumen means dark, and I know dark,
So then lumen must mean
light,
Right. We all agree on that?
I agree.
I
Okay.
agree.
Go ahead and kiss your brains. Fantastic. Okay, so for today's lesson, we are going to be reading a story that is called The Popsicle Stick Bridge. And what do you think that we're going to be looking for as we read The Popsicle Stick Bridge?
Context clues.
Context clues. Awesome job. Yeah, so we're going to be looking for context clues. So in our story, we're going to have a whole lot of unfamiliar words, so words that we don't know. And we're going to have to use our context clues to better understand those unfamiliar words. Now, we're not going to read the story today, but we're going to do something that we call a book walk. So a book walk is where we're going to look at the pictures, we're going to look at the headings, things like that, to help us understand or even make predictions about what we think the story is going to be about. And something that I want you to notice today during our book walk as well is there going to be something that it identifies words that might be a little hard, and they're actually what we call bold print. So there are words that are a lot darker. And you're going to look at those words, and those words we're probably going to have to use our
Context clues!
context clues, yes, to better understand the meaning of those words. So I know that right now you don't have a physical copy of the story in front of you. So if you'll just take a look at the board, we're going to do a book walk. Alright, so our story that we're going to be reading this week and taking a look at is The Popsicle Stick Bridge. And it is by Marlene Kennedy. And then the art is by Sebastia Sarah. And this story is going to be all about friendship and about how we get along. So the very first thing that I want us to take a look at is the picture that's on page 10. Alright, I want you to turn and talk, and I want you to discuss, what do you see? Is there something that you see that stands out to you? Alright, so I heard some really awesome answers and some things that you mentioned. Where around in the back, we see kids smiling, already playing with their popsicle sticks. And something that we noticed was at the front, we have this little girl, and she doesn't look really happy, and she's about to sit down. And with this little boy, we noticed that he's kind of making a funny face. So I'm really interested to find out what the relationship is between this little girl and this little boy, and what exactly is going on. And something else, when we look at page 11, that a lot of you said you noticed, because we kind of talked about it before we looked at our story, were these bold print words. These bold print words. And then we also noticed down here we had something that was highlighted, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But I'm thinking that these bold print words are probably important, right? And what is it we're going to use again?
Context
Context
clues!
clues are very good. Context clues to figure out what that word means. So we're going to go ahead and look at the next page. See what else we notice. We see some more pictures up here. And up here we have that same little girl from the first page that a lot of you mentioned to me. So the same little girl, does she look happy?
No.
No, she looks really sad. And it kind of looks like, well, where am I going to sit, right? And so a lot of you might think, well, I've been in that situation before, right? So I wonder what is going to happen with her as we read. And I wonder if she finds somewhere to sit with a friend. And so same thing, as we look through here, we find words, oh my gosh, look at that word, so long. I don't know that word. You might not know that word. So some words are going to be these bold print words that we have to use those context clues to figure out exactly what they mean. Oh, something else that we noticed were these headings also. So this one says the worm rescue. The worm rescue. Curious what that's going to be about. Next page. Oh my goodness. What is going on with her now? Let's stop and think for a moment. Okay. So with her, I'm wondering what's going on. Is she happy now? I can't really tell if this is like an excited face or maybe like a disappointed face. I really don't exactly know what's going on with her, so I'm really excited to find out because I don't know if you noticed, but this is that same little boy from the very first picture that we saw, and he was kind of making that funny face towards her. So I'm curious to see, are they friends now? Are they getting along? Maybe they're not getting along because I can't really tell exactly what's going on with her face, so we'll find out as we read. And that was it. So awesome job on our book walk today. I'm really excited for tomorrow when we begin reading this story and using those context clues to find out those bold print words that we don't know.